fading skies. Tattered flags waving dreams in our eyes. The crowds roar like a storm on the wind. We're the underdogs fighting again.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. God damn it, every single time I hear that song, I get fired up because we are so goddamn close to the summer's Gold Cup. And of course, Mauricio Pochettino has named his 27-man squad, and we're going to go over today. Before we do, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe buttons. Yeah, man, it's good to have you guys along. So interesting Gold Cup selection. I'm curious to know who is definitely going to be playing the wings for us. That's going to be something that's going to, that we're going to discuss today as well too. But that being said, let's go ahead and just call this what it is. A lot of names that potentially could have expected to be on this list decides not to participate in the Gold Cup. Okay, fine. So who is naturally going to replace them? I kind of like this Gold Cup roster because it has a lot of fresh names on this one. A lot of guys are going to be getting their first caps in a U.S. men's national team shirt. And because of that, you're going to see a different vibe from this team. And, obviously your first time playing under Mauricio Pochettino, there's going to be an expectation level, which is something that we didn't necessarily see at the Nations League. Before we get into it, let's get into some news and notes because there was some news that I actually did see today, and that pertains to a couple players who are going to miss the Gold Cup this summer. And I believe, as I back this up real quick, Yunus Musa is off this one, along with Jedi Robinson, and I think the reason was for personal reasons, potentially an injury. I know that Josh Sargent has said that Josh Sargent and Joe Scally have said it was, and Tanner Tessman has said it's for football reasons. And that makes a lot of sense. Same thing with, I believe, Christian Pulisic as well, too. All have cited football reasons, i.e. they have played a shitload of football over the course of the last year and a half, and I don't necessarily blame them. I would rather have these guys not participate and potentially give an effort as we saw in the Nations League. But that being said, make no mistake, this is this is the last tournament that the U.S. men's national team can compete on. That's it. After this Gold Cup this summer, it is nothing but friendlies until the summer of 2026. Yes, there are some interesting friendlies, and of course, those friendlies are going to be here live streamed here on Stateside Footy. Like and subscribe. But that being said, that is it. And there's a lot of get back with this team over the performances of what we saw. And this isn't just a Nations League problem. This kind of goes back to the summer before the Copa America, where this team, essentially got their coach fired. Yeah, that's exactly right. Joining us tonight is Big Bad Rom. Evening, mate. Good evening. I hope you're doing well, my man. And of course, he's still buzzing after last night's Europa League win. Congratulations to Tottenham Hotspur. Love it. Yes, he did. But Mauricio Pochettino has an interesting challenge ahead of him, because when you looked at this Gold Cup roster and you didn't see Christian Pulisic's name on it, and you didn't necessarily see Alex Zendejas' name on it, or even what was it, or even a guy like Yunus Musa, right? Naturally, the questions become like, who is going to be manning those positions for this team come this Gold Cup? And the first name that jumps out to me is a guy like Brendan Aronson, who has played a little bit of the wing for Mauricio Pochettino. Now, of course, Aronson was off that Nations League roster a couple months back, but he's back into the fold. Sean Zawadzki of the Columbus Crew is also in this list as well too. The question, obviously Haji Wright is on this list, returning back from form from Coventry City. I think he finished the season quite well. So there are a few interesting names on this list that could play. I thought Brian Gutierrez was probably going to make this list, just considering that the depth on the wings is something that the U.S. men's national team just does not have. And it's a problem, man. It's going to be a pretty big problem, right? So first and foremost, when you looked at this team through the middle of the park, they have not gotten any kind of solid contributions from their 10s, from their strikers. And what production we did get seemed to come off the wings, and now you take that equation out. And so naturally the question is where is this team going to get their goals from this summer? And when you add in the configuration to this Gold Cup, I think Saudi Arabia is going to be playing in this Gold Cup as well too. There's going to be enough good teams out there that have the potential to jump up and bite this team in the ass. What I do like is the defensive crew from the U.S. men's national team, because there's a few different ways that this team could potentially play. If they want to play three in the back with potentially an inverted midfield, they potentially could. Chris Richards, who's coming off an FA Cup win with Crystal Palace, is going to be here, and it looks like Mark McKenzie is going to be in this one as well too. So if they do potentially want to run that, they can do that with Serginho Dest, who's making his first appearance for Mauricio Pochettino this summer. That is also something that possibly could shake out. Or if they want to roll with the back four, this would probably be the best opportunity to get Chris Richards and Mark McKenzie in the center back pairing, and potentially running out with with a full back pairing of Serginho Dest or Max Arfson. You potentially could do that. There's a good chance that Max Arfson is going to get a lot of run in this Gold Cup. And when you look at the fact that there's no Jedi Robinson in this one, that almost seems to be a little bit of it seems to be kind of like no shit. The reality though is Tim Ream is on this roster, and every single time Tim Ream sits on this roster, Tim Ream ends up starting. I guess you can say it's for that that experience factor, although I still believe Tim Ream is playing left back for Charlotte, so take that for what it is. But let's go ahead and get into this roster. There's a lot to talk about this one. And yes, sir. Yeah, this is about the U.S. men's national team under Poch. Yeah, that's exactly what the show is about. Let's get to it, right? As we start at goalkeeper. And Mauricio Pochettino is bringing four keepers to this Gold Cup. Matt Turner will be in this Gold Cup. And right now he is currently the U.S. men's national team number one. I know a lot of prognosticators. I know Tim Howard, our former number one, likes to think that Zach Steffen is the team's number one. But that being said, as we have seen camps under Pochettino have progressed, Matt Turner just continues to get run out there. This potentially could be a tournament where you might see Zach Steffen get run out there. I didn't necessarily think that Matt Turner had himself that great of a window, and of course he hasn't necessarily put together phenomenal windows over the course of the last 3 that he's been called in. The question is like, do you, as Mauricio Pochettino, make that switch now ahead of the ahead of 2026? Is there enough run where you can get a Zach Steffen Ruffin for 2026, or potentially, hand a start to a first capper in Matt Freese? Or is this an opportunity for Patrick Schulte? I don't necessarily think Patrick Schulte is going to be that answer. I think it's really going to be either Steffen or Matt Turner moving forward, especially in the context of this upcoming World Cup. I just can't see it being either. It's going to be either one of those guys. But the way that Mauricio Pochettino continues to show faith in Matt Turner, chances are pretty good that come that first match, it's going to be Matt Turner between the pipes. As we get into the defenders, Max Arfson of the Columbus Crew will be on this roster. Serginho Dest, we just mentioned him. Alex Freeman of Orlando. That name had been mentioned, but the other one that I didn't necessarily think was going to make this one was DeJuan Jones of the San Jose Earthquakes. I know that DeJuan used to be in the fold under Greg Berhalter. But recently, I don't think he's actually been starting that much for the San Jose Earthquakes. So it was to me, I thought it was going to be a long shot, but here he is. And of course, Mark McKenzie, Tim Ream, Chris Richards, and Miles Robinson from FC Cincinnati. And again, when I think about this defense, I think we've all been waiting for a center back pairing of Richards and McKenzie. I certainly am of that opinion as well too, that those two should be getting some reps together. If Chris Richards is thought to be one of two coming up in 2026, that center back pairing has to be figured out. And this is no disrespect to Tim Ream. I like Tim Ream, and I like what he's stood for as a member of the U.S. men's national team. But that being said, it's, having Chris Richards on the left-hand side with Mark McKenzie playing off the right probably gives this team the best opportunity to gel as a center back pairing. I just don't think Chris Richards has the speed and technical ability to play the center back position anymore, which is why he's playing left back with Charlotte. And Miles Robinson is Miles Robinson, a nice little depth piece for the U.S. men's national team, and also somebody that can come off the bench if they want to, bring on that third center back pairing, which we saw. I believe it was against Canada. No, it was against Panama. The midfielders in this one is Brendan Aronson of Leeds, Tyler Adams of Bournemouth, Sebastian Berhalter. And I think a lot of people have been calling for Sebastian Berhalter to get his first cap, and this is going to be it. And right now, everybody talks about Diego Luna, and rightfully so, because he's had himself a little bit of a glow up. But that being said, so is Sebastian Berhalter, and he's playing his best football right now. That combination between Sebastian Berhalter and Brian White in Vancouver is the reason why Vancouver is leading the Western Conference right now in Major League Soccer. And those two have been absolutely dominating their run to the CONCACAF Champions League final. And the reason why they were so easily, dispatched Inter Miami in that semifinal, he's here. And I'm absolutely glad. And I think this is a very good opportunity for Mauricio Pochettino to find out what he has in Berhalter. And you know what? There's some creativity in those boots of Berhalter. And I just think that, when you're talking about potential unsung heroes of this camp, it's probably going to be him. Johnny Cardoso's in from Real Betis. And of course, Tottenham Hotspur fans know a lot about Johnny Cardoso because he has signed, I think he has agreed to terms with Tottenham Hotspur. He's going to make the move to N17 this summer. Which is a huge step up for Johnny Cardoso, especially now that Champions League is in the bank for Tottenham. That's a huge move for him as well too. Luca De La Torre, which I didn't necessarily think Luca would be here. I don't know. I don't know how you guys felt like Luca. I don't know how you guys felt about his performance this year with San Diego FC. It seems to be hot and cold. I think Luca's here. I don't necessarily know exactly what role he's going to facilitate for the U.S. men's national team. But that being said, he does have the ability to come off the bench and score a goal if you need one. There's some leadership there with Luca De La Torre. But really, right now, you would have to think that right now, coming that first game, starting at the 10 is going to be Diego Luna. And Diego Luna took his opportunity in the January camp. And of course, everybody remembers what happened in that January camp and the toughness and the aggression that he showed, but also his ability to contribute in goals. And Diego's a real one, man. I love Diego Luna. This channel is a huge Diego Luna channel. And I love watching what he's done with Real Salt Lake this year. This dude just has such a high motor, but he also plays with a flair, and his ability to create and his touch is just unreal. And this is something where you're going to have to keep your eye on Diego Luna moving forward, because if he continues to progress in the red, white, and blue, is there an opportunity for him to poach a starting spot come 2026? Maybe. Jack McGlynn's on this roster, and I do like Jack McGlynn. I like his left foot, and especially with set pieces. Now, the interesting thing about Jack McGlynn is he's a box to box. He's a pure box to box. So he's not going to be here necessarily to play the 6, but he's also can't necessarily play the 10. So you're going to be looking for that link up in the midfield. And Jack McGlynn can potentially facilitate this. But if you're looking to make quick strikes on the counter, if the U.S. men's national team do their job and clog some passing lanes and are able to create turnovers in the midfield, Jack McGlynn has the ability to ping balls forward and utilize certain speed and put depending on who's attacking the channels. Jack McGlynn is a guy who can be a facilitator depending on the space that's given. Just saying. Quinn Sullivan's on the squad. I think when it comes to the Sullivan brothers, I think everybody recognizes that his younger brother, Kevin, is probably going to be the one for the future. But right now, Quinn Sullivan gets his first cap with the U.S. men's national team. Congratulations, Quinn Sullivan. And again, where exactly he's going to fit on this roster, don't necessarily know. Probably maybe facilitating a spot on the wing. We'll see. Malik Tillman is back in, and I'm happy for this one as well, too, because Malik needs to get back in the fold after finishing a very strong season with PSV Eindhoven in the Dutch Eredivisie. It's nice to see Malik back in the red, white, and blue, because I still think that Malik Tillman has an unbelievable high side with the national team. All it is for Malik Tillman is reps, and that's exactly what he needs. And I think you're going to see him get minutes this summer. And it's a well-earned call-up to the national team. And I think all of us do agree that we see that ceiling. The question is whether or not he's going to be able to take advantage of those minutes and put a good foot forward. But in the context of no Gio Reyna at this Gold Cup, okay, cool. So who's going to facilitate that position? Well, it's going to be Diego Luna and Malik Tillman, 100%. And finally, rounding out the midfield is going to be Sean Zawatsky of the Columbus Crew, and I think that's just more along the lines of depth, in case shit breaks and you need to bring somebody off the bench. The forwards now, and this is again, the forward line definitely has some intrigue. Patrick Amadjang of Charlotte, and again, he was one of the guys that turned some heads in the January camp, and then again. During this last window of the Nations League, coming in and scoring a goal, where Josh Sargent necessarily couldn't, Patrick Amadjang did, and it is because that he's still taking advantage of his opportunities that he's on this roster, and I think this probably warranted. Florian Balogun from Monaco, back in finally healthy and back in the U.S. camp. The question is he a starter right now? I don't know, because you look at the minutes that he got towards the end of the season with Monaco, not exactly a lot of minutes. But that being said, he's healthy, he's fit, and he's ready to wear the red, white, and blue. And I'm happy that he's in camp, because if everything breaks, he's probably going to be your starting 9 come 2026. The other one that has intrigue is Damian Downs of Cologne. And of course, when you look at what Damian Downs was able to do, helping. I think Damian Downs helped Cologne earn a promotion to the Bundesliga this season, scoring 10 goals in 29 games. Does warrant a call up, considering that there is no Ricardo Pepi, there is no Josh Sargent in this one, and it's an opportunity again for a young player to be able to get his first cap, and an opportunity, and I think we're going to see him too in certain points in this tournament. So there's some good intrigue right there from Damian Downs. I thought he probably should have got called up to the Nations League roster, but better late than never. And he's in this one as well too. And same with Brian White. And again, as we talk about the chemistry between him and Sebastian Berhalter, Brian White is a guy that another MLSer that has taken advantage of the opportunities that were given to him. Kind of an afterthought in the January camp. But that being said, scores goals, and this is another opportunity where if he's given some minutes, he's going to be somebody that is going to be able to put the ball in the back of the net. So I kind of like this forward crew. There's a lot of intrigue in with it. A couple MLSers, a couple European guys, and then to round it out is Haji Wright of Coventry. And that's another name that's going to be interesting, because I would probably assume that Haji's probably going to start out wide, but depending on the formation that's used, he could also be used as somebody as almost like a false nine in a two striker system. If that's the way the tempo of the game progresses, he can move a little bit more centrally and put some pressure on goal as well too. Haji Wright can put the ball in the back of the net. I have no doubt about that. Quickly though, we do have a couple of European friendlies coming up on June 7th and 10th. We will face Turkey and Switzerland. Those are Gold Cup tune-ups, and I'm actually looking forward to those as well too, because this roster needs to have himself a couple tweaks before this Gold Cup kicks off. And I'm absolutely thrilled that it's going to be against a team like Turkey, which is a very good, solid European opponent, and Switzerland, which is also a team that just seems to do well when it comes to the European competition. So there's going to be a couple of nice, intriguing tune-ups prior to this Gold Cup. But let's go ahead and just say it what it is, right? After the disappointment of the Nations League, and it's a tournament that we should have won. When we see these type of performances, it does not give us any indication or any hope that things are going to get better, or things are going to progress as we get closer to the World Cup in 2026. And listen, this should be a time where we're apexing. We're coming into this thing, riding a wave before we're able to play this World Cup on home soil. But the production, the attitude of this team, even under a guy like Mauricio Pochettino, just does not seem to be here. And the reality is, it makes you wonder whether or not some of these players actually give a shit. And the funny thing about this is, I remember after that Nations League, and I was thinking to myself, do you know what the attitude reminds me of? And it's kind of funny. The attitude to me reminds me of that of like an England or France or a Germany when they're playing Luxembourg or San Marino or Andola or whatever. Like they're playing a team that they don't necessarily have to worry. They can just show up and play. And they don't necessarily have to take it seriously because they know that they go 4 deep at every single position and it just doesn't matter. Like that's the attitude of big club, big national teams around the world when they're playing lesser nations. It's not that they don't try, but it's like they don't have to try because they know for a fact that they can just show up and their talent's going to be good enough to get them over. That's the way that I feel like this team played. Because let's be honest, right? The U.S. men's national team, when it comes to CONCACAF, and a large portion of it, they can just show up. and their talent will get them over. It's not going to be pretty, but their talent can get them over. And coming into that Panama match in the Nations League, I can understand a guy like Christian Pulisic finding it hard to get up for a game like Panama. Same with Weston McKennie and some of these other guys. Because they, you play them 20 times in 5 years and you beat them 19 out of 20. Like there's no secrets between the two. And there probably have been times where they just showed up and were able just to get over. It just so happens that, the year before the World Cup is, again, where you're supposed to be apexing, where you're supposed to be rounding into form under a new manager. And it's not like you need to blow them away for 4-1 or anything like that. But it is an opportunity to remind U.S. men's national teams that, yeah, you can handle this convincingly. And when you get beat by Panama and then you get beat by Canada in 2 matches where it doesn't look good, it creates doubt, man. That's the problem, right? We don't want doubt going into a World Cup what we're hosting, right? Because we saw what happened in the Copa America on U.S. soil. Like, that was embarrassing. I think we were the first Copa America host to get grouped. These type of performances do not inspire fans to show up. It doesn't help that CONCACAF has us playing a 4:00 match, the first of a double header. Obviously, that's a different story for a different day. But that being said, it's even for friendlies against good CONCACAF teams, we're playing to half empty stadiums. So, and we thought that Pochettino coming in would give us a little buzz, and it did give us a little buzz. But that being said, it comes from the players on the pitch. It comes from this team coming together, galvanizing ahead of the 2026 World Cup. And again, this is an opportunity. This is the last opportunity. The Gold Cup is the last opportunity, and it's a tournament we have to win. We absolutely have to win this Gold Cup. Period, point blank, end of discussion. We cannot have another tournament where we underachieve and we end up losing to fucking Jamaica. You know what I mean? That cannot be the lasting impression of the last major tournament prior to a World Cup. That summer of 2026 is a celebration of U.S. soccer and the enormity of what it is. And the last thing that this team can afford is to go into it uninspired, looking like they just don't give a shit. So I like this roster. And the reason why I like this roster, and I've said it all the time, and I side with Mauricio Pochettino as well too. I don't care where you're playing, just as long as you're playing and you're playing well. Whether it be Major League Soccer, whether it be in Europe, playing in a league somewhere, I don't care where you're playing, just as long as you're playing well. To me, that's good enough. And we have seen it throughout the history of the U.S. men's national team that you can be in Major League Soccer and still be able to develop into a good national team player. Because again, the national team is not an all-star team of your best 18 European players. It doesn't work that way. Because just because you're playing in Europe does not mean that you have what it takes to compete at the international stage. I'm sorry. Some players are just better club players than they are at the international stage, and that is a absolute fact. And that's why you have a player pool. That's why you have a domestic league, because some players that are playing in Major League Soccer do actually have the technical ability, and that's what the national team is. It's a collection of your best pool players. And I like this roster because at least you're going to get players, especially on their first caps, that are going to want to impress, that are going to play hard for the entire 90. And they're going to be tactically aware, and they're going to do what they can to make sure that this team is represented correctly. That's why I like it, man. I like that Matt Freese is on this roster. I actually kind of like Matt Freese more than I like Patrick Schulte, to be honest with you. But Brendan Aronson coming back in is going to play hard. He's going to play hard, and I think this is also going to inspire Tyler Adams to have a very good Gold Cup this year as well too. Diego Luna is going to take the next step in his evolution. Could this be an opportunity for Quinn Sullivan or Jack McGlynn to potentially write their name in future rosters? That's what this is for, man. But yeah, man, I like it. I'm curious of who's going to be manning the wings. But that being said, we'll find out exactly what's in the mind of Mauricio Pochettino. But that being said, he's a good coach. He's ready for this, and I don't buy into the whole. Excuse me, I don't buy into the whole. Take a Bruce Arena, who said that your National League team coach has to be from that nation. Coaching is all about coaching. It doesn't necessarily matter if they don't necessarily understand the American lifestyle or the American culture, right? Talent recognizes talent. Talent knows how to spot talent, and talent knows exactly what works for a system. I'll trust Mauricio Pochettino to look at these players and say, you know what, he can do a job for me. Yeah. So that's going to do it, man. I just wanted to do a quick. To do a quick video when it comes to this Gold Cup roster. I think it's a very intriguing Gold Cup roster. I know there's going to be a lot of other YouTube guys out there that are going to absolutely shit on this one because there's too many Major League Soccer players on this one. But that being said, man, this is the opportunity, especially with a lot of big names out, guys who are going to be a part of the 2026 World Cup that are taking this Gold Cup off. It's just an opportunity to see exactly where your depth's at, and also find out if there's going to be somebody that's going to be able to write their name into that 2026 World Cup roster and potentially snag a starting spot. So, this roster is all about Diego Luna. It's potentially about Patrick Amanjang. A lot of guys who will probably come 2026 will probably be playing in Europe somewhere. That's the real. Quickly before we go, this weekend on Stateside Footy, the Saturday morning Spurs conversation will be hosted by Dermatron from THFC TWD, so he will be on that one. And the MLS live stream is going to be manned by Derma. He said he was going to do it, so we'll see, man. We'll definitely see the UK, all the guys over there in UK that help me do the MLS live stream. They're going to take the reins this Saturday. I didn't think there was going to be one, but there's going to be one. So stay tuned to find out exactly what that MLS live stream is going to be. I am going to be out for this week as I go back to Seattle on holiday to spend some time with family. So I'm looking forward to that. But when I return, of course, man, MLS live stream, but also U.S. men's national team live streams as well too. We're going to be covering those two friendlies prior to the Gold Cup. June 7th, June 11th, we're going to be on it. And then, of course, we're going to be covering the Gold Cup from every single angle. We might be doing – we're not going to be doing any Canadian live streams. Come on, man. That's not us. We're going to be covering the U.S. men's national team when it comes to the Gold Cup. And then, of course, on Stateside Footy, we might do some Club World Cup as well, too. But definitely we're going to be potentially doing some League Cup stuff as well, too. So U.S. soccer is definitely going to be covered this summer here on this one, including the summer transfer window, as we are going to highlight a few names that come in to Major League Soccer as well, too. So that should be fun. And, of course, all the work that Stateside Footy does with THFC TWD when it comes to the Premier League. In the Premier League summer transfer window, of course, with Tottenham Hotspur. So there's a lot of good stuff coming down the pipe. So definitely you want to be a part of that. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. The first 1 to 500 is going to get one of those. A U.S. men's national team or U.S. soccer shirt of their choice. And that is what we do here on this channel. We take care of all those that have been absolutely fantastic to subscribe. And so we're definitely at a race to 500 by the end of the summer. And then, of course, if we can get to 1,000, man, we're really cooking, man. We're cooking with gas. So I do want to thank those that have already done it. Make sure you like and subscribe, guys. And of course, also the same thing with THFC TWD as well too. Always like and subscribe as well too, as we got a lot of good content coming out. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. That's going to do it for me. Enjoy your weekend, guys.
Rusted goalposts under fading skies, tattered flags waving dreams.